Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and you're welcome to Avant Money Páirc Sean McDermott for the fourth in our series of draws for the Club Championships of 2023. So this afternoon, we will be conducting the draws for round 3 of the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship and round 4 of the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship. So there are slightly different formats involved in either one, but before we go on with that, I just want to welcome here to help us conduct the draw the Secretary of the CCC, Vincey O'Rourke, who's beside me here on my left, and just to the left of him are John Keenan and Pádraig Kane, who are members of the CCC who will actually carry out the draw. So we will head straight into the third round of the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship. So in round 3 format, all of the 10 teams are placed back into a single pot, and the first 5 teams that are drawn out shall have home advantage, and they'll be drawn out into games number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And then we will go to draw the away teams, and they shall be drawn in order into this round while avoiding repeat pairings from rounds 1 and 2. So in other words, if a team is drawn to play an away team that it has already played in earlier rounds, it shall move down to the next available pairing and so on. So that's more or less the procedure for the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Championship round 3. So as you can see there on your screen, this is where the balls will be drawn and fit into the home teams on the left and the away teams on the right, and down below a list of their previous opponents in the championship in rounds 1 and 2. So without further ado, John and Pádraig, we will take up the balls and draw out the first home team in round 3 of the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship.
Ahavas.
The first home team will be Ahavas. So we'll move on to the second home team.
Melvin Gales.
Melvin Gales. And the third home team.
Drumreilly.
Drumreilly. 1 second, Lewis. Okay. Fourth home team.
Alan Gales.
Alan Gales. And finally, the last home team, John.
Drumkieran.
Drumkieran. Okay, so we'll just pause there for a second to recap on our 5 home teams: Ahavas, Melvin Gales, Drumreilly, Alan Gales and Drumkieran. So the next team drawn out, team number 6, will be the first team away to play Ahavas, unless it's Drumreilly or Ballinadlera. And Drumreilly are already drawn out.
Anaduff.
So it's Ahavas versus Anaduff. Next home team will be drawn out to play Melvin Gales.
Barnacoola.
Melvin Gales versus Barnacoola. Long trip north, from north to south. Melvin Gales versus Barnacoola. Third team, due to play Drumreilly, unless it's Ahavas or Kilturbridge.
Ballinadlera.
Drumreilly versus Ballinadlera. Yes, I think that can happen.
Yeah.
All right, so Alan Gales and Drumkieran are the last 2. So the next team out would play Alan Gales.
Kilturbridge.
Alan Gales versus Kilturbridge. Local derby. And the last one then is Drumkieran will play the last team out.
Played.
Did Drumkieran play
I
Carrigaline?
did, yes, absolutely, sorry. Yes.
Right, so Alan Gales, Drumkieran have already played Carrigaline, so it has to be Alan Gales versus Carrigaline. And Drumkieran have to play against Kiltubber. Okay.
Yeah. On the list, but there is Kiltubber. Will the Kiltubber will fix that up?
Yeah. Kiltubber.
It's just not the list.
Okay, it's on the list, right? Oh, I understand, yeah. So just to recap that on that there, Alvas versus Anaduff, Melvin Gales versus Bornacoola, Drumriley versus Ballinaclera, Alan Gales versus Carrigaline, and Drumkieran versus Kiltubber, yeah. Okay, that concludes the draw for the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship. So now we move on to the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship round 4. So in the format for the championship for round 4, the 5 away teams from round 3 shall be placed in pot A as the designated home teams in round 4 and shall be drawn first into round 4 game order in accordance with how they are drawn out. So the 5 teams then in pot B shall then be drawn to complete games 1 to 5 while avoiding repeat pairings from rounds 1, 2 and 3. In the first, if the first away team draw and cannot play the home team, then it shall move down to complete the next available pairing, etc., and shall take into account the many pairings which may not be readily available. And this particular draw is obviously got a little bit more complicated because of that factor of the home and the away and so on. So if you look at the screen there in front of you, you will see that, for example, Knocknasheelan have 4 possible opponents. Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestons have 4 possible opponents. Gartletcher have 3 possible opponents. Leitrim Gales with 3 and Mohill with 2. So, and then if you look at the away teams, you'll see crucially, without going through them all, there are combinations of 4 and 3, but crucially, Fianna St. Callians can only play either Knocknasheelan or Ballinamore. So what we'll do first and foremost is we will draw the first 5 teams, which were the away teams of this weekend, to be the home teams in order. And the first team out will be team number 1. So we good to go, John?
Yeah, okay. First team out, Gartletcher.
First team out is Gartletcher. So Gartletcher will be home team number 1, followed by
Leitrim Gales.
Leitrim Gales. Second home team, Leitrim Gales. Third home team,
Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestons.
Ballinamore, Sean O'Hestons. And the fourth home team,
Knocknasheelan.
Knocknasheelan. And the fifth home team, obviously that's
Mohill.
the last team that's left in the draw, which is Mohill. Okay.
We'll have to deal with it.
So what will happen here now is we move to the away teams, and the first home team drawn out will play Gartletcher, or the first 6 team, I suppose, team number 6 that's coming out will draw out Gartletcher. If it's Ahawillan, Glencar Manor or St. Patrick's Stromahare. But if it's not a readily available package for them, then it will move down into the next available slot and so on. It'll become apparent as you go through it. And what will happen when each ball is placed into its slot is that the options for the remaining teams, you'll see them disappearing, so to speak, on the screen. So we'll draw the first team out to play Gartletcher.
Ahawillan.
Gartletcher versus Ahawillan. And if we look down here, we see that Ahawillan is a possibility for Gartletcher. So that will populate. Ahawillan. Okay. So now, If we pause there now and we look down further down on the screen, we will see now that down further, if you look at the teams on the home side and that first 5 sides, you will see that Mohill has now got only one possible opponent, and that being St. Mary's Kiltahart. So what we have to do, we have no option but to put in St. Mary's Kiltahart versus Mohill, because it's the only team that they can play. So it's Mohill versus St. Mary's Kiltahart. Now, the knock-on effect of that, of course, as you can see now, is that 2 of what were Leitrim Gaels' possible opponents have been removed from the picture. And that means that Leitrim Gaels have now only one possible opponent, and that is Glencar Manorhamilton. Okay, so we are now left with the final drawing, I suppose, so to speak, but there are still balls in the pot. The decision in the last 2 games will be whether Auckland will play Fina or Dromahair, or Ballinamore will play Fina or Dromahair. So we'll draw the next ball, John. If it's Glencar Manor or St. Mary's Kiltahart, it's obviously already been placed.
Fina St. Callans.
Fina St. Callans will go into the slot with Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons, because the next available slot. So Fina St. Callans will play Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons. And by default, if you like, we're down to the last possibility left for both Auckland and Dromahair, which is Auckland versus St. Patrick's Dromahair. So that should conclude, that does conclude, in fact, the draw for round 4 of the Connacht Bowl Senior Football Championship. And just to recap on it, it is Gordletra versus Ahowillan, Leitrim Gaels versus Glencar Manorhamilton, Ballinamore Sean O'Hestons versus Fina St. Callans, Auckland versus St. Patrick's Dromahair, and Mohill versus St. Mary's Kiltahart. And there are the 2 slots. Obviously, the blank space there is Drumkeerdon versus Carrigallen. That will be readied up before it goes out. Drumkeerdon versus Kiltahart, I should say. Alan Gales versus Carrigallen, working their way up the page. Drumreilly versus Ballinadera, Melvin Gales versus Bornacoola, and Ahavas versus Anaduff. So that concludes the draw for the Smith Monumental Intermediate Football Championship Round 3 and the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship Round 4. I'd like to thank Vincey and John and Porrick, Brendan and Tom, who are on the technicals behind the scenes, and we look forward to the playing of those games. The Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship Round 4 will take place in 2 weekends' time, and the Smith Monumentals Intermediate Football Championship will take place next weekend, as I understand. So, Garmila Mahagup Galir, Agus Shin Shin.